The Oklahoma City Thunder are coming off a fantastic season, and honestly, the word fantastic, that's shortchanging the season that the Oklahoma City Thunder had last year. They're coming off a historical season. They finished as the youngest team in NBA history with an average age of 23.9, so we can round up to 24. With an average age of 24 years of age, they became the youngest team in NBA history to become a first seed in their conference. They're in the Western Conference. And also they became the youngest team in NBA history to win a playoff series, and this made a lot of people uncomfortable. And when I say a lot of people, I mean people in the media. Shannon Sharpe, who has a huge platform, and I enjoy Shannon Sharpe a lot, but that doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he says. And at the time, this was really irritating me, but he was saying that no one was scared of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I don't think teams should be scared of any teams when it goes into the playoffs, but I definitely don't think he should have been downgrading him the way that he was. And nonetheless, I know they went home in the second round, but so did the Denver Nuggets, and they put up a good fight against the Dallas Mavericks. They just played against a pretty solid team and two great individuals in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. But nonetheless, all in all, it was still a terrific for a very young Oklahoma City Thunder team. And when we look at the Thunder and we look at the season that they had, one thing that shocked a lot of people, and it especially shocked me, was how elite they were on the defensive side of the ball. Now, coming off the 2022-2023 NBA season and going into the season that just ended, I knew the Oklahoma City Thunder, I knew that they were going to improve on the defensive side of the ball, but I didn't know that it was going to be that drastic. They ended last season, the season that just concluded, they ended up finishing 5th in the league in defensive rating. So they were able to have top 5 offense and a top 5 defense, which is incredible. And these guys are just 24 years of age, because when you have young teams, they struggle on the defensive side of the ball, and a lot of it is just inexperience and mental lapses. But Coach Mark, he had these guys ready, he had them disciplined, and then they have a bunch of studs on the defensive side of the ball. And one thing that really put them over the top last season defensively is the addition of Chet Holmgren. And I really shouldn't even say the addition, I should say Chet Holmgren making his NBA debut, because he was a part of the 2022 NBA draft, but unfortunately he suffered that offseason injury that kept him out for an entire year. And to be honest, I think it was just a severely underrated rookie season for Chet Holmgren. We look at his averages. He averaged 17 points per game to go along with 8 rebounds. His true shooting percentage was 63%. So these do not sound like rookie numbers at all. And I definitely don't think his rookie year was talked about enough. But where he made his living at, and where he made the Oklahoma City Thunder one of the best teams in the entirety of the NBA, is what he brings, the impact that he brings on the defensive side of the ball. And we all know, coming in, he's already one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. He averaged 2.5 blocks per game, and he also was one of the fewer players in the league to block more shots than that he had more block shots than he had fouls. So it's nothing you can love more as a coach, as a teammate, when you have one of those bigs who's not just out there hacking, jumping at everything, but they're making their decisions calculated, and they're making them precise, and they're out there being an outstanding rim protector. And that's exactly what Chet Holmgren is. I believe he stands at 7'1", so he has extremely long arms, and his timing is so impeccable. And then also he has the ability to repeatedly jump. If Chet Holmgren gets a block and the team gets the offensive rebound, whether it's the same player or a different player, he's able to immediately jump back up and block that shot attempt or contested at the rim. In 2K, they call that pogo stick, the pogo stick badge. So Chet Holmgren, he does that really well. And then also it just doesn't stop there. Now, last season, because he is such a great rim protector, we didn't really see too much of Chet Holmgren outside of the drop coverage, because you just want him protecting the rim, and they had terrific perimeter defenders in Jalen Williams and gilgeous-alexander and Lou Dort. Those guys had no problem getting over screens. But sometimes, on occasion, when you're playing against a Damian Lillard, when you're playing against Stephen Curry, when you're playing against Fred VanVleet, these guards that like to shoot the ball from the perimeter, sometimes your big has no choice but to get up. And Chet Holmgren, he has the ability to do so. And he's done something that I haven't seen from too many bigs. I've seen this from guys like Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley. These guys have this ability to where they're mobile enough, athletic enough to, when it's a pick and roll situation, they have the ability to hedge and guard that ball handler, contest them for long enough for that defender to get back in place. And then once that happens, Chet Holmgren and those other bigs I named, they have the ability to get back and still defend the roll man. So when you have a player that can defend both actions of the pick and roll, it makes life a lot easier for the other four guys, or I should say the other three guys that's not involved in the pick and roll action. It makes their jobs a lot easier because all they have to do is stay home and stay alert, and it makes those other three guys on the offensive side of the ball, it makes their lives a lot harder because now they got to figure out different ways to become effective offensively. If we watch basketball, you know that a good pick and roll game, it can open up so many different things. And if you can keep consistently running a pick and roll, you won't need to run too many plays because you're getting so many different actions off the pick and roll. But Chet Holmgren, he has that ability to just shut down the initial pick and roll sometimes. So he's elite on the defensive side of the ball, and I think he played a huge role for the Oklahoma City Thunder climbing up the ranks and becoming the 5th ranked best defense in the NBA. And so we look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. They had other guys that were great individually on the defensive side of the ball. Lou Dort, there's not much I need to say about him that you guys don't already know about. Lou Dort is a monster defensively. He has the perfect build, the perfect physique. He's extremely fast. He's extremely strong, and then he just has the will. He wants to make guys lives a living hell on the defensive side of the ball. So they have a great wing defender in Lou Dort. 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, he's going to be guarding the opposing team's best wing scorer or their best perimeter scorer. So they have that already in Lou Dort. And then I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think he surprised a lot of people on the defensive side of the ball last year because we're kind of in an era nowadays where teams like to conserve their best offensive player on the defensive side of the ball. We see a lot of teams, they'll take their best scorer or their best offensive player, and on the defensive side of the ball, they stick them on the weakest or on the least threatening scoring. The least threatening guy to score the ball on the offensive side of the ball. But what we saw from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last season, he was actually locked in and engaged on the defensive side of the ball. Really good at causing havoc, being disruptive, forcing turnovers. There was one point in the season where he was so far ahead on the steals list that his steals, I can't remember the exact numbers. His steals was in the 90s, and then the next player, their steals was in the 60s. So he was just causing a lot of havoc on the defensive side of the ball. And then sometimes he was asked in close games to take on the opposing team's best point guard if they were playing a good point guard matchup that night. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was extreme. For as good as he is offensively, he was amazing on the defensive side of the ball. And then they also had guys like Jalen Williams, Wiggins. All these guys can defend. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, after coming off a season where they had one of the best rim protectors in the NBA, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and then overall, in general, just one of the best defenses in the NBA, they were able to go out and acquire Alex Caruso through trade with the Chicago Bulls, sending Josh Giddey to Chicago and receiving Alex Caruso back in Oklahoma City Thunder. And with a move like this, the Thunder are just not playing fair. I can't even fathom Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and Chet Holmgren being on the court at the same time. That is gonna make a lot of defenses annoyed. I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of frustration fouls from opposing teams next season because they have two guys. They're gonna be able to play two guys that are just absolute irritants and just they're absolute ball hounders when it comes to playing defense. And Alex Caruso, he's one of those guys that's like Derek White on the defensive side of the ball. He was Derek White defensively before there was a Derek White Like, you see Alex Caruso make these plays. Sometimes he might get stuck in a low post on a player that's bigger than him, or on stuck in a low post against a big, and he's good enough defensively. He has very quick hands. He can go for the strip. He's pretty strong. He can hold his ground, and sometimes he might even just go up and get a block. He's one of those type of defenders, and we all know how good he is as an on-ball defender. He can pick up full court. He has good length. He has good size. He's fast, good instincts. He's disciplined, and he's just a playmaker. A lot of guys are playmakers offensively, but Alex Caruso, he's one of those few guys that you can call a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. He can make some highlights out of making crazy plays, crazy effort plays on the defensive side of the ball. He stays engaged when he's on the ball. He stays engaged when he's off the ball. He causes a lot of havoc in the passing lanes, getting steals. So he's a really good defender. I believe he's a 2-time All-NBA. He's made the All-NBA defensive team 2 times. Last year he was first team All-NBA. This year he was second team. I believe Lou Dort. I know Lou Dort has made the All defensive teams. I don't know how many times he has done it before. If I'm not mistaken, he's been on there 2 times. You guys can let me know down in the comment sections. But now they have 2 perimeter defenders that have made all NBA teams, which is crazy. The only team that I can think of off the mind right now that has 2 all NBA defensive perimeter players is the Boston Celtics with Derek White and Drew Holiday. So I just think next season the defense that the Oklahoma City Thunder, that they're going to be able to provide with the rim protection and all the other thing that Chet Holmgren brings to the table. You have Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams is a physical defender, athletic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander he has shown the ability to be one of the best offensive players in the NBA, the best scorer in the NBA, and also being one of the best defenders in the NBA. I think it's safe to say that last season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he was a two-way player, the way he played on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. So I think things are going to get very nasty for a lot of teams. Pause on that. Things are going to get very nasty for a lot of teams next season when they're facing this Oklahoma City Thunder defense. But that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. They have a lot of studs, and I think their defense is going to be out of this world next season. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate every single like, every comment, and every single subscriber. But if you enjoyed today, please leave a like, leave a sub, and then that's curtains.